Hello, and welcome to the podcast Empire of Terror. Its author is Mark Selinsky, president of Kensington Security Consulting. This episode is a follow-up to the reading of the book by that name. It is called A Tale of Two Persians. It drills into the story of a very fashionable, if emotionally unstable, Iranian woman who is being defenestrated by U.S. immigration officials. She and her daughter have clearly worn out their welcome in the United States. It also examines the confusing case of a cancer researcher linked by blood to the Laranjani clan in Iran. Both women hail from Iranian revolutionary royalty. Hamideh Soleimani Afshar, 47, and her 25-year-old daughter, Sarinasadat Hosseiny, have been in the news a lot lately. This scantily dressed pair is quite the fashion plates in Los Angeles. The two were issued deportation notices and are currently detained by ICE. So, what gives? In particular, who is Mom Hamideh Soleimani Afshar? Why is she being deported? This is the answer offered by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Until recently, Hamideh Soleimani Afshar and her daughter were green card holders living lavishly in the United States. Afshar is the niece of the deceased Iranian Major General Qasem Soleimani. She is also an outspoken supporter of the Iranian regime who celebrated attacks on Americans and referred to our country as the Great Satan. This week, I terminated both Afshar and her daughter's legal status, and they are now in ICE custody, pending removal from the United States. The Trump administration will not allow our country to become a home for foreign nationals who support anti-American terrorist regimes. How did all this happen? Afshar entered the U.S. on a tourist visa in June 2015, was granted asylum in 2019, and obtained her green card in 2021. On the surface, she appeared to be a credible candidate, but when the surface was scratched, many problems emerged. In a 2025 naturalization application, Afshar disclosed that she had visited Iran 4 times since receiving her green card. Her trips to Iran illustrate that her asylum claims were fraudulent, a DHS official said. She also has an Iranian revolutionary pedigree. She is the niece of General Qasem Soleimani, former commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's Expeditionary Force. Soleimani, known as Supermani, was killed in a deadly 2020 U.S. airstrike. This was not necessarily disqualifying, but her shrill anti-American rhetoric seems to echo that of her uncle and the regime he fought for. According to the State Department, Soleimani Afshar, a prolific social media user, referred to the U.S. as the Great Satan and celebrated attacks on U.S. soldiers in the Middle East. The New York Post reported that Soleimani Afshar published messages of support for the Iranian regime, including since the ongoing war that started in February, and welcomed the appointment of Mojtaba Khamenei as supreme leader to take over from his father, who was killed on the first day of the U.S.-Israel campaign. Then there is her temper. She is also hot-headed and prone to emotional outbursts. After she was incarcerated in a federal deportation center, she reached out to an old beau who refused to take her call. He claimed she abused and kicked him. In his words,
"I don't want anything to do with her. She scares me. I was so afraid of her. She knows how to make herself seem like an angel and you feel like the devil. I wanted someone to take her away. Now it's happened."
Perhaps her impulsivity stems from unresolved issues with her father, as this old boyfriend speculated.
She takes advantage of every man she knows. She was saying, "I love you," but I was so afraid. She said I reminded her of her dad. All these years I was suffering. I wanted to have my life back.
And be careful with her hair. Her LA hairdresser obtained a 5-year restraining order against her, claiming she became unhinged and stalked him at his home. "Thank God," he said, exasperated, upon hearing of her ICE arrest. "That's good. She's a stalker." Others who do not know her personally resent her perceived hypocrisy. She gives full-throated support to the revolutionary regime, which would have little time for her shopping sprees on Rodeo Drive. Others, particularly Iranians who have built new homes in the United States, are part of Los Angeles's thriving Iranian-American community, most of which views the revolutionary regime as a toxic force. They cannot understand her cheerleading for a regime that might toss acid in her face if she wore the pink poodle dress she displays on her TikTok account. A neighbor said,
She also drove a black Tesla, which on Saturday was stuffed with luxury goods, including a Miss Dior bag, some Hermes cushions, a Sephora makeup bag, and another gray leather handbag in the front seat.
What do others think about the deportation? The Persian princess did not receive much support online. One internet observer cautions, enter kooky, leftist judge to put the kibosh on this endeavor. Another observer, infidel, says, well done, Secretary Rubio, for revoking their green cards. Now that the template has been set, maybe his department can also revoke the green cards of every Islamic activist there in the UK, and also work with DHS to see whether Ilhan Omar's fraudulent citizenship can be revoked. The move comes just days after Emory University fired Fatemeh Ardashir Larijani. If the name sounds familiar, it is because she is the daughter of former Iranian Supreme National Security Council Secretary Ali Larijani and the wife of Sayed Kalantar Motammadi. As with the Soleimani clan, the Larijani offspring cannot be held responsible for their parents' behavior. But was it Fatemeh's behavior that earned her the door? A physician, Dr. Larijani, was an assistant professor at Emory's prestigious Winship Cancer Institute. No longer. After 100,000 people signed a petition calling for her deportation, she was notified that she had to leave. How influential was this petition or other popular efforts in the decision to dismiss her? We at Kensington do not know. But we are concerned because, despite searching the internet, we could not find much valuable material. The university released this memo.
Emory is committed to advancing patient care, research, and education. Our employees are hired in full compliance with state and federal laws and other applicable requirements.
Okay, fair enough. This is standard bureaucratic piffle. But why did they fire her? Here we can only speculate. Emory may have uncovered something serious about her that they disliked. Were her comments subversive or anti-American? Maybe, but where are they? Wouldn't someone have posted them to support the demand to fire her? Also, universities are chock-a-block with America-hating and anti-Semitic professors whose rants are heard all over campuses. How often are they fired? Finally, this would be a cause to celebrate for civil libertarians of all political philosophies. It is highly likely that some civil rights lawyers investigated this case. It is also likely that they determined she had neither a strong legal nor an ethical basis. Wouldn't you agree? But we at Kensington stress that this is rank speculation. Do you have thoughts or inside baseball on this? If so, contact us at Kensington Security Consulting and we will post your ideas. Also, you may be interested in a book we published that profiles Qasem Soleimani. The book is Empire of Terror, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This concludes an episode of Empire of Terror, which is a service of Kensington Security Consulting. Nothing in this episode or any episode on this podcast represents the official position of the United States government. Until next time, goodbye, and thank you for listening.